What's the code? Here we go for you with that title cut. We'll send it out to all our friends from the state of Michigan. We'll be up at St. Stan's in Bay City 2 weeks from tonight. Here's that title cut. It's called those Bay City Nights. Here we go. I wanna walk by the river, the breeze in my hair, then stroll until midnight without any care, with the girl that I love holding on to me tight, living a storybook life in those Bay City nights. That I had found took me to a place I thought that I should be, and the dreams that I had found just don't seem to be quite as much today. More over, I look past my shoulder to see all the places I've been. Now it's so clear to me that this feeling I seek is in a place where my journey began. I wanna walk by the river, the breeze in my hair, go up till midnight without any care, with the girl that I love holding on to me tight, living in a storybook life in the Bay City shore, taking in the rising sun, and the fireflies will come, dancing through the fields now that the firelights gone. It's the falling sunshine from the rain into the mountains, to bring back the dance of the day. It's the song that they sing and the memories they take you back to where I won't be. I wanna walk by the river, the breeze in my hair, go up to midnight without any care, with the girl that I love holding on to me tight, living a storybook life in the Bay City without any care, with the girl that I love holding on to me tight, living a storybook life in the game I walk on by the river, the breeze in my hair, go up till midnight without any care, with the girl that I love holding on to me tight, living a storybook life. Don't make me die, don't make me die, don't make me die. city night, birthday city night, birthday city night, birthday city night. There you go, those Bay City Nights. All right, we're gonna go back to the All-In recording 2022 for you right now. We'll send it out to all the ladies in the house. Make some noise. Here we go for you. It's called A Girl Like You. Looking for the one in a million girls, I guess I changed the turn. But you still gotta go through the motions. You know it's fine, get hurt. And I'm so sorry, every 79 my heart is going to the end. For a girl like you, girl like you. I'm gonna go more than I think for you. Your heart's so true, heart's so blue. So nothing over around for a girl like you. All I ever knew was a girl like you. And it might be me that we are the light of the sun. And I know that you do what you need. And I think it's all tonight. A girl like you, a girl like you. Nothing like a girl more like me for you. Your heart's so true, I'm so blue. Something I don't know how to go back and girl like you. Get yourself out. For a girl like you. There you go, off our All-In recording, one called A Girl Like You. All right, right now we're going to do one for all the Happy Louie fans in the house. I would like to remind you we'll be doing Yulcha's Parkinson's benefit. That's out in Massachusetts. If anybody wants to go out and celebrate along with Yulcha, this will be her last one, and we're honored that we'll be there with the Dynabrass. We worked up these couple of tunes when we played for her last year. Here we go. We call this one our Happy Louie medley. Hey, what's that? Them just must be the same. Tell me, say, put your way, then she better go in. Then tell me, for to power it, then to get for my Wszystko wiem, że ja cię kochałem, jak tu kiedyś byłem, to jeszcze kochałem. Proszę kochanieczki, żeby się wypływa, proszę bożałeczki. Spojrzała poczta, wystarczy tak wielka. A jedna piękna dziewczyna patrzy, utracił kochana. A jedna piękna dziewczyna patrzy, utracił kochana. Droga, moja dziewczyna, nigdy do domu, nigdy do domu. Będę jeszcze jeden, jeszcze nowe wojny, do ciebie wrócę. Będę jeszcze jeden, jeszcze nowe wojny, do ciebie wrócę. vocals there. We call it Happy Louie Medley. All right, it's time for the last 50-50 drawing of this evening. All right, the winning ticket for $155, and is this orange or pink? It looks orange. Orange ticket 3925533. 3925533 for $155, and you can get your winnings at the 50-50 table. All right, we had a request for this next tune, especially for Karen with an I. This one goes way back to the very beginning. It's a legendary Dynabrass song for you right now. Here's one called Hit the Bricks.
Together well. After you moved in, my life became a living hell. And your days were made overtime from my TV. When the house was like a mess, you yell and scream at me. But my back at work, so you pay me and pay the rent. Every dime that I bring home, the dollar that we spend. Watch what you want when you want. You don't really go now. There's one more thing you'll get from me. A day's notice, you get out! So hit the bricks and I can't listen to your man anymore. This year's my time to find another hour and find the door. Always on the right side, and I'll get in the way. Come on! Up all night, cover time you fall. Make all the symbols, all the shades, the money for hours. You drink a dirty cherry hole, but baby, let us go. Started with the good thing in our lives together. Living with you, friends, I love you, fun times and bad. Really that is good time, baby, that's the heart. Don't let us see you go. Again, baby, go! So hit the bricks, you don't stand, you don't deny it anymore. Drink again, but time is fun, you know the house is fun, door. Always on the bathroom, and the things feel sick. I'm having enough, get into it, come on! Hit the bricks.
All right, there's one called Hit the Bricks. As long as we're in the H's, we're going to do another tune, especially for Kenna. I mean, when my granddaughter is up in front of the stage, how can I deny her of any song she wants to hear? Here we go for you. It's one called Have a Drink on Me.
Have a drink on me. Everybody have a drink on me. Hey, hey, everybody drink on me. a drink on me. Everybody have a drink on me. Hey, hey, everybody drink on me. Now drink on the song of the martini, of the wine, of the martini. Hey, hey, everybody drink on me. We dance and dance and dance again, and head to the bar to catch and drink. Hey, hey, everybody drink on me. Have a drink on me. Everybody have a drink on me. Hey, hey, everybody drink on me. Have a drink on me. Everybody have a drink on me. Hey, hey, everybody drink on me. Polka's all the same, and everyone knew it, heard him say, hey, hey, everybody drink on me. And he dance and dance and dance again, and head for the bar to catch his wind. Hey, hey, everybody drink on me. And a drink on me. Everybody have a drink on me. Hey, hey, everybody drink on me. Have a drink on me. Everybody have a drink on me. Hey, hey, everybody drink on me. Let me hear you now. Have a drink on me. Everybody have a drink on me. Hey, hey, everybody drink on me. Have a drink on me. Everybody have a drink on me. Hey, hey, everybody drink on me. Have a drink on me. Everybody have a drink on me. Hey, hey, everybody drink on me. Oh, my drink for the band. Everybody buy a drink for the band. Hey, hey, someone get a drink for me. Have a drink on me. Thank you. All right, we're going to keep it polka time unless you guys want us to slow it down. Should we take a survey? Hand out comment cards? All right, we had a request for this next one, actually the next few. We had a request for, here's the Jeff Malechko original, taking you back to my days with TPM and Jack's days in TPM. Here we go for you. This one called You and Me. Believe I found you, it's like a dream come true. Can't believe the love you hold me by. Your smile's like the sunshine, brings light upon my days. And sweet poetry song can fill my mind. And for the time the future's clear to me, I see you in my eyes. I'm just studying you and me side by side, walking hand in hand tonight. Nothing in the world will come between us. Oh, by one, by two, I will stand right next to you as the day that it goes through eternity. Life together, forever, you and me. Every time I hold you, it's like I'm new. up everything I had just to be at your side. And the love I'm feeling here today. And for the first time, you've just clear to me. I see you with my eyes, my destiny. You and me, side by side, living in the light. Nothing in the world will go between us. If I want, if I do, I will stand right next to you. As the days move us through eternity. Fight together, forever, you and me. You and me, side by side, walking hand in hand. Nothing in the world will come between us. If I want, if I do, I will stand right next to you. As the day will go through eternity. Fight together, forever, you and me. Ah, there you go. That's one called You and Me. All right, the granddaughter request train keeps coming at you. Here's a tune off of our 10 and 5 recording. Here's Chase on another vocal. One called I Want My Baby Back. Here we go.
I got my baby back, Joe. I got my baby back, baby back, baby back.
Yeah, baby back, baby back, baby back. Get in my belly. Here we go for you. I got my baby back. I got my baby back. Never know life could be so sweet. I got my baby back. Feel like I could live on my head. I got my baby back. I got no worries, I got no cares. I got my baby back. Whoa. I got my baby back. It's like for 10 and 5 recording this one called I Got My Baby Back. Thank you.
Green dress!
Well, we had a request for this next tune, especially for Alyssa, because we know she's a troublemaker. Yes, sir.
Shutting down by 9.
All right, the Polish Pride apparel booth is shutting down at 9:30, so if you're looking to take any of that merchandise home with you, now's your last chance, as the Polish Pride booth will be closing down at 9:30. All right, here we go for you right now, especially for Alyssa and also for all the troublemakers in the house. You know who you are. I can see it on your face. Here we go, one called Nothing But Trouble. That's a Dynabrass original, one called The Nothing But Trouble.
Wind me up! Wind me up!
We have a request for Wind Me Up. Bobby Earl's in the house. All right, we got time for a couple more tunes. We're going to bring Bobby Earl to the bandstand. This is another one off of Kenna's request train. This one's called Bobby's Song. All right, here we go for you. We've got two more tunes, and we'll bring back Lenny Gomolka and Chicago Push to finish out the evening. Here we go for you. Bobby Earl on the vocals from our And the Road Begins CD. Here's one called Wind Me Up. I got the big heart in the year. Hey, like the swing of roses, I'm for being grumpy. They know it's got that I'll be back to wipe me up again. Wind me up, turn me on, and watch me cry for you. You drink water and wine all I want. And I'll never know how to wind me up that I want. But I don't care that I'll be back to wind me up again. The boats are express in California, and this is their biggest year. The start of the war is hard, there's enough to keep me headed up. That's all I've got to wind me up, yeah, that can do. Wind me up, turn me on, and watch me fight for you. Drinking water and wine all I want. And I'll never know how hard I want me up till I want. But I don't care that I'll be back to wind me up again. Wind me up, turn me on, and watch me fight for you. Drinking water and wine all I need. And I'll never know how hard I want me up till I want. But I don't care that I'll be back to wind me up again. Hey! Ladies and gentlemen, how about a big round of applause, Bobby Earl? Alright, we're gonna get our last tune in from Wind Me Up to Wake Me Up. We had a request for this one. Again, just releasing it this week for all the young ones and the young at heart. Here we go for you. Wake Me Up. My way through the darkness, guided by a beating heart. I can't tell where the journey will end, but I know where to start. They tell me I'm too young to understand. They say I've got a bigger dream. So I can pass me by this I don't open up my eyes. Let's find out in you. So wake me up when it's all over, and I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself, and I didn't know I was lost. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself, and I didn't know I was lost. But I only have to ask. I hope I get the chance to travel the world, but I don't understand. Think that I can think forever. Now the things that I I'm just getting it, I'm Thank you one and all. Right now, let's bring up Lenny Gomolka and Chicago Push. All right, we're going to do one more for you. We had a request to do this one. It was the Song of the Year of 2017 for both the IPA and the USPA. If you're still in the house, everybody up on your feet. Arms in the air, let's go. Raise your hands, Kenna. You take your arms, let's go to the left. And then everybody go to the right. Take one step forward, one step back. Let's dance all night. Everybody to the left, and everybody to the right. Take one step forward, one step back. We're gonna dance all night. Now roll to the left, now roll to the right. Take one step forward, one step back. We're gonna dance all night. Thank you one and all. Right now we're going to turn it over to Lenny Gomolka, Chicago Push.
That is cold.
Well, hot is cold, cold is hot. What do you think, Kenna? Cold is hot? All right, we will do one more, but this will absolutely be the last one. We've got Lenny Gomolka to finish out the evening here. We'd like to thank you all for attending, and a big round of applause once again for all the volunteers that worked all weekend long to make this festival, I should say, picnic happen. We want to thank you all, and thank you all for being here. We look forward to next year, 2026, and we'll let you know once things are planned. This will do it for the Dynabrass, brand new for you right now. Giving it up for your love. Thank you one and all. That's going to do it for the Dynabrass. We'll see you folks Next week out in Ocean Beach and New London, Connecticut. 2 weeks from this weekend we'll be at St. Stan's of Bay City. And then the following week, Seven Springs. Who's going to be there? Polka Fireworks. We'll see you all very soon. Good night from the Dynabrass.